Thank you. Just introduce you to the band, because you probably don't know who they are. We got Terry on guitar. We got Brian on the drums. We got yours truly on the bass. And introducing Maurice Chambers on the vocals. Big hand for Maurice.
Good afternoon.
I look to the sky, but there's nothing real. I try and touch it, but I cannot feel.
I've always been a musician. As far as I'm concerned, my place on the world is a drummer. And that's always been my mindset. I think it's probably the same for Bob.
We had a recording of the band. I used to play that all the time and drive everyone mental.
We were working solidly for 2 years, doing about 7 gigs a week. Sometimes I'd do 2 gigs a night.
You know, every time you write a song, it's like buying a lottery ticket. Whilst it's sort of art, there's always that sort of hope. One day a cheque for £1 million will land on your doorstep.
It was tough times, good times. I remember thinking to myself, this is a great way to earn a living. But like all these things, they don't last.
Never made any money out of writing music. It's something that I've done for the love of it.
It's a funny thing, the music business, because once you step out of it, by the time you go back to it, it's all changed.
Life is never what you think it's going to be.
This is my time machine. When I'm playing drums, I'm 17. I'm not 58, 60. I'm 17. That sunk into Bob's psyche, and that was the beginning of how we got this together.
My brother Maurice, he said to me, you know, what about getting the old band together?
Just for the hell of it, just to see what it was like. We all go back a hell of a long way.
All 4 of us went to Eliot's school. We used to all hang out together in Putney when we were teenagers. Anybody that sort of partakes in any kind of musical experience, whether it's being in a choir, singing on their own, or playing in a band, everyone will tell you that it's a very spiritual thing.
I'm Maurice, and I'm the lead vocalist.
My name's Brian, I'm the drummer.
I'm Bob. I'm the bass player.
I'm Terry McCartney, I'm the guitarist.
I love that song. Oh, I do love that song.
Well, I think we should do it again. Anything could happen in the next half an hour.
The last time we played together was 1973. And this is a reunion with Maurice, Brian and me. And we've got Terry McCartney. He never played in the band, did he?
No,
But he was playing in bands locally around the same time.
We've been through our period of schoolboy band, blues band, rock band, doing college gigs, doing support gigs. By now it's like the mid-70s. Me and Bob were working together on the Parks Department, still convinced that it was only a matter of time before we'd be discovered somewhere or somehow.
That was how you lived, in hope that something fantastic is going to happen.
It's like early 80s by now, and I'm in a proper professional club band. We're doing 3 gigs a week, also quite ambitious.
Every New Year's Eve, it was like, this year's going to be my big year. And it never was.
I think I just burnt out. I was going to throw away my sticks and concentrate on a serious career.
And I moved up to Cumbria sort of Basically, that was it. That's me finished with music now. I'm just going to make furniture.
After teaching people to drive for 3 years, I realised it wasn't for me and I wanted to go back to playing. So I just started getting into some local jams in Wandsworth.
Then I moved back down south. I went from being a bass player to being a singer.
We were a great little rock and roll band, but you can't turn up at a gig and play all your own material when no one knows who the bleeding hell you are.
I recorded all my own backing tracks, I bought all the gear, and I used to go out on my own. And I did that for a while, but it's quite lonely.
Basically, that was the beginning of where we are now to this day.
Without Facebook, without social media, this would never have happened.
The main problem, as before, was always the last member. We never had a consistent fourth member.
I hadn't seen Terry for years, you know, probably 30 years since I'd seen him, but I was able to make friends with him via Facebook, and I'd seen him playing the guitar, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just ask Terry if he would be interested, which I did, and he said, yeah. I was able to make a playlist of all the cover songs that we wanted to do. He was able to learn those songs so that when we came together for the very first time, it was kind of like we'd been playing those numbers for a couple of months anyway.
The sun is shining.
Hang on, just let me do me round first.
Oh, right.
You do it again.
Do it.
Yeah. 2, 3, 4.
The sun is shining.
He does it first.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry, Mike. You bring it in, didn't you?
The sun is shining. But it's raining in my home. The sun is shining.
It's been quite hard work, hasn't it, getting the band to sort of time.
Yeah, it's sound all
It's
together, like, yeah.
something you have to work out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All the little details and stuff.
One of the things about playing music is that there's a kind of a communication, there's a bond that you form. It's very psychic. You're communicating just using music. I mean, musicians can speak to each other with their instruments.
It's getting it on. When life's gonna tie your eye, I'll soon be with you, my love. I'll give you my dawn surprise.
Morris, can I give you a little bit of advice?
What?
Don't rely on looking at the words too much,
Why?
because just have confidence in yourself. All
Yeah,
right?
but- yeah,
Because if
I-
you have confidence in yourself, it sounds better, and you'll enjoy it more as well. Just go with it.
Even if you don't know the words, just go. Ba, 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 ba.
When mama told us someday you will be our man, and you will be the leader of a big rock band. Miles around, he made it into the sun all time. Maybe someday you have to be blessed. Got it is up tonight. Go, go, Johnny, go, go, go. 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 Johnny, go.
Well, thanks, guys. That was really good.
Yeah, thank you, Terry. That was great.
Good to see you. Good to get
Well,
to know you.
that's the best I've done in 40 years. 40 years ago, didn't we? Keep going for a piss all the time.
We've got a few plans as well. We are planning to do some proper recording and maybe release an EP. And the other thing we're going to do is play our first gig.
Jordan Court and the Ashburton boys, watch this space.
Brian and I played in a pub and club band that had already been going for a little while.
And there was another talent show around called New Faces, and it was basically a panel of judges like the X Factor setup. We applied, and a shock to us all, we actually got the gig. We got asked to come along to appear on television, and I think the week before we was due to play, we'd done a gig in Limehouse in a club, and the guitar player Steve and the singer Ted, the politics in the band was awful. They hated each other. Anyway, we finished the gig that night and had this massive fight.
Which resulted in the singer falling backwards and tripping over a PA speaker and breaking his leg.
The old saying about break a leg was true, because Ted broke his leg from Steve and we never got to do the audition, and that was the end of our television career, which I think is rather a good way to go out, actually. Whenever someone says to me break a leg, I always think, yeah, we've done that, you know.
We got together in May 2014 and we've been rehearsing pretty much once a month ever since, and it's just really bloody good fun.
It's not too pulling on you. We meet up once a month. It's a good trip because you don't know many people in your life 45 years later that you knew, you know, not in a regular friendship sense.
Brian's my bestest, oldest friend. Known him since I was 14.
With me and Bob, it's like if we didn't see each other for 2 years, we'd meet up and it's like we saw each other last week.
I think Brian and I have a lot in common with each other. It's what friendships are made of. Brian's my brother from another mother.
When I first knew Morris, he was at work, we were still at school, but he came in as the singer in the band.
Morris is my brother.
We were cemented together, I'd say, because of the early days.
And Terry is the guitarist.
Terry, the guitar player, I was at primary school with Terry on the Ashburton estate where we all grew up.
Hence the name of the band.
So we go back far enough to kind of realise that we all come from the same pot, and that's the connection really, I think, as well.
Welcome to the Magical Mystery Tour.
A little tour of Putney, yeah.
Yep.
This is the posh end.
The mean streets of Putney.
Right, well, this is the Ashburton estate we're coming up to.
Yeah.
So this is where I grew up, where I was a long-haired brat from a council flat. And so this flat on the left is where I grew up before we moved further into Putney. Anna and Morris, Bob's mum and dad, they've been an anchor, really, for us as friends. You know, years ago we used to have all our New Year's Eve parties, which I'm sure is folklore in the Chambers family.
So that flat there is 19 Jordan Court. That window on the right was our bedroom where we used to have parties and we used to have our so-called quiet rehearsals. Where's the sign saying Jordan Court then? Oh, there, Jordan Court.
Up there.
I can remember these trees when they were saplings.
Yeah.
Haven't they grown out?
But it's weird walking up that staircase.
Here we are in Brian's mum's house.
This is where I used to traipse on down to Jordan Court and meet the guys and go from there and traipse back again in a little bit of a drunken state sometimes.
Hence the name.
Jordan Court and the Ashburton boys. My particular memory is I was standing here and Bob was standing there, and he came rushing around one day full of enthusiasm saying, I've written this new song called Pseudo Queen. And what stands out in my mind is that you just stood there and repeated the whole thing. You sang it all the way through, you know. And I knew then, I thought, we're going to go a long way. For me, Bob and Morris and having the band get together, and it gave me a sense of identity that I needed at the time. And once we started to play, I thought this is all I ever want to do. And it's almost been the same now. Going down to somewhere with some people you get on with and playing music and just really enjoying it. And there's nothing like it, really. It's just one of those things that sort of puts you somewhere else. Somebody said that music is the connection between the spiritual and the sensual. Probably, I think it might have been Mozart.
I think that was Cliff Richard. We've been going for about 18 months, haven't we?
Yeah.
Back together again.
When we first started, obviously because Terry was a new member,
Yeah.
he was, I think, very nervous. Although he didn't say too much, but now he's really integrated into the band, hasn't he? He really enjoys going there, he really gets into it.
Yeah.
He's really the fourth member of the band that we never had.
Yeah, it feels like a proper band now.
Yeah.
And you were quite rusty as well, weren't you, with your
Yeah,
singing? And
it
that
was
took quite a bit of getting used to
Getting
again,
back to
didn't it?
it,
I think your voice actually has got better.
It has, yeah.
But it's changed, you know, in 40 years, you know.
A few more
Your
cigarettes.
voice
and,
changes, yeah.
Yeah.
Smoked a few more fags.
We first got together in 1970. I overheard Brian telling one of the other kids that he's getting a band together. We're off to Elliot's school. This is where it all began.
Look how tall these bushes are there.
Yeah.
You used to be able to jump over them.
Worst years of my life.
Yeah,
Like a bloody prison.
I
it was.
hated it here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice to be back though, isn't it?
So that little room there
Yeah.
is where me and Bob first met. There's 3,000 kids all around the back of the bike shed just smoking cigarettes.
We've all learned to play the guitar, making YouTube videos. That's Hotham Road School. This primary school that we used to go to, and it's where we did our first gig. They all think it's posh, but when we were here, we thought it was a dump. And I knew they had a school fete coming up, so I asked if we could play there. I think we borrowed Paul's dad's sack barrow to get our gear from Jordan Court down to the school, and Simon, the bass player, was there 1 minute, and then the next minute he was gone. He just disappeared. We were left without a bass player, but we said the show must go on.
Yeah, it was a shame because for our first gig I felt we'd been at a disadvantage. But you know, we bashed on, didn't we?
Yeah. It's the YWCA where we used to rehearse. The manager there used to let us store our gear. While we were away on holiday, the hall got burnt down. It's just a bit of bull and star. We stopped rehearsing everything because they were going to pull it down and build this wonderful bank.
We were there on the last legs, but we couldn't save it despite our fame.
That shop over there was Bob Kerr's music shop. He used to sell like really weird instruments in there, didn't
he used to have the old Bob Kerr's whoopee band.
This was the Wilcox's greengrocers.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had acoustic guitars. I think Brian had just like a snare drum or something.
Snare drum, hi-hat, and an old record case as a bass drum.
Ian's dad used to keep coming downstairs going, "Keep the noise down!" That's where we made all our noise.
That's where everyone could hear stuff and knock on the door. Yeah.
The basement.
I mean, it was such a traditional greengrocers. It's weird how it's suddenly just vanished off the planet, isn't it?
Yeah. But you know, this was this whole row of shops. This used to be like where there was a pub and they pulled it down. I can remember the original Quill. The one thing I will always remember about coming here to rehearse was right opposite the Nag's Head. It was Gordon's Gin. Honestly, I cannot describe to you the smell.
It used to give me stomachache.
It can really, really make you feel sick. That would have been where the Nag's Head pub was, in York Road, Battersea. And as you can see, it's no more. They've pulled it down.
That was an iconic place.
Well, if you think that it was the home of blues and where Fleetwood Mac and Chicken Shack and Free started out, if this was in America, they would have turned it into a sort of museum or a shrine.
So there you go. That was the end of the line.
That was the end of the band.
Yeah.
The band's last resting place. Everything changes. You know, it's the only constant thing in life is change. Over the years, things have changed quite significantly with the advent of the internet and social media. For mere mortals like me, there's now an opportunity to get my music out there. And MySpace was the great opportunity for unsigned bands and artists to upload their music.
It's a different world now. It is all put out on social media. I kind of rely on Bob to handle all that side of things, because if someone can do it for you, then let him do it.
Quite often when I go to rehearsal, I stick that on a music stand or lean it up against the mixer and record the band playing. And by the time Saturday tea time comes around, I've uploaded it to Facebook and YouTube. That's quite nice because, you know, then a lot of people get to watch that and like it and give you a bit of feedback. That's basically what we've been doing, to keep kind of a record of how we're progressing or not. Because of social media, it's kind of added a new dimension to what we've been doing as a band. Today we're back in the studio, the recording studio.
We've done some recording, just to put a few of the old tracks right from way back in the early 70s, just to sort of put them to bed, if you like.
We recorded those songs at Echo Zoo Studios in Eastbourne. That was another experience for us as a band, was to all work together in the recording studio.
1, 2, 3.
We talked about recording some songs for a long time. I think it was about 5 or 6 songs from, you know, the 70s. We kind of whittled it down to sort of 4 songs and then 3 songs and then 2 songs. Pseudo Queen and To the One I Love. Pseudo Queen, the story behind that was that a friend of ours would always refer to the hippies at the theatre group as being pseudo hippies. They're pretend hippies. I used to think that about this particular girl. She was very middle class and very sort of arty-farty. She had the sort of the full uniform, the long, thick, curly hair, the long skirt and the sandals, and the whole kind of Janis Joplin outfit. That was the person that inspired me to write the songs. It was only sort of years later that I came to learn that a pseudo queen is actually something that is used in beekeeping. It's actually a pseudo queen bee. But that's not what the song's about. It's about a pseudo hippie, basically.
1, 2, 3.
Very cool. What do you feel? Do you feel like you want to do a second take for safety and then say when to pick one, the best one? Yeah. Because the second half there on that shuffly groove was so solid and had a really nice pocket on the drums there, like
One of the most amazing things for me was that back in the 70s when we had that band and I was a young teenager and was just starting out writing songs, every time I wrote a song it was, you know, we were going to play that in the band. Those are songs that I wrote when I was a kid. I'd put those songs to one side. They weren't my best work as far as I was concerned. They were my prototype songs. When we got together and I played those songs like for the first time in 40 years, and I shut my eyes, and it was the most magical feeling. Playing those songs was like going back, because that's where I'd left those songs. I'd left those songs when I was 16. Playing them 40 years later was just, it was fantastic. It was like finding some buried treasure.
Oh, it's a fucking hard song, that is. That's a tough one, that. Why'd you have to write such a fucking awkward song? Don't get me swearing on your film. My grandchildren think about it. Tracks are down, drumming's done,
yeah, but that's
just the vocals to come.
You want to go?
Don't let us down, mate.
We left it for quite a while, actually, about another sort of 6-7 months. And then went down there and mixed it all. And it all come out very well. Very pleased with it, really.
And they've come out quite well. That's it, we'll probably just leave them alone now and go forward.
We'll be back with the next number in 3 minutes.
This is my drum room. Basically, I spent all my life trying to get this because now we've got all this room. All the kids have left home. I could then say, yippee, 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 I'm going to make a drum room. So this is my electronic drum kit that you can... there you go. And these are all my old drums and bits and bobs that I've gathered over the years. All these bongos around you. Normally when I go to a foreign country, I always buy a drum and bring one home with me, you know, just so as I can remember where I've been. That one wasn't very easy getting home, believe me, you know. This is a photograph of me doing a recording session with Dawn from The Promise. And these are just little knickknacks I've collected over the years, all the recordings I've done, the bands I've been with. That was a little present from my grandchildren. Yeah, custom drumstick. The Beatles, which were my main influence, you know, everybody wanted to be like Ringo Starr. So yeah, this is it really, is my collection. It's like a meditation room for me. I'll come home for my lunch. If I've got 20 minutes to spare, I'll knock out a few numbers and it always makes me feel better before I go back to work in the afternoon.
To the one I love, I'd like you to know that I love you very much. Your hands I wanna hold, and your lips I wanna kiss all night long, all night long. To my
We recorded a song called To the One I Love. The idea of that song is that it's kind of written as a letter, you know, to the one I love. That was me trying to see if I could write a song like a poem and then put it to music. As a sort of guy in his early 60s, you can look back on stuff that you did when you were a kid and assess that as if that was somebody else that wrote it. It starts off being all sort of gentle and lovey-dovey and romantic and poetic, but at the end of it, it's the guy is quite angry about the way the world is.
Make me wanna scream, it makes me wanna shout. Makes me wanna scream, it makes me wanna shout.
Although you've got all this love, it doesn't change all the shit that's going on in the world. I mean, I suppose if you sort of put it into perspective, there were still plenty of angry young men and women around at the time because we still had the Cold War, and that was always sort of there as a threat. That was the kind of cloud that ultimately we were all living under. So, yeah, it's a love song written by an angry young man.
Towards the end of the band's career, my brother was playing guitar and he was kind of coaching us forward. And we got a gig at Aldershot Army Camp. Off we all went in Morris's old Bedford van. Never done an army camp before, but by now we were well rehearsed.
You're thinking in your minds that you're going to play in an army base, it's going to be full of sort of leery squaddies.
People kept saying, just say you're RSM's guest, you know, which is Regional Sergeant Major, you know, in other words, you get all your drinks for free.
And we thought they were going to come in at about 8:30, and they didn't actually come in until about 11 o'clock at night. By this time, we'd had about 3 or 4 pints of beer each as well. Anyway, the doors opened and all these people come in.
And all these guys are all dressed up to the nines.
And we just looked at each other and said, like, oh my God, these people are going to expect Frank Sinatra and we're going to play Mustang Sally. As soon as we started playing, the bow ties come off, the shirt collars come undone, and they start doing all their dancing. They couldn't get enough of it. We played our 2 sets and they still wanted more.
And it was just a fantastic night. It was just great.
I don't think we got out of there before half 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
It was such a lovely feeling knowing that all our little journey of 2 years, and here we were playing to all these people in this army camp, getting paid quite a lot of money. It felt like we were on tour.
We ready to rock? I want everyone to say yeah. Yeah! Say yes. It's Kingston, it's in Surrey. Now this is a song, in all serious, stop laughing everyone. In all serious, this is a song called The Seeker.
When we play in rehearsal, it's a fantastic feeling. It's a great sort of experience, but there's no feedback, there's no applause.
The gig that we're going to do is basically saying this is what we were doing in the early 70s, their old Cream numbers, Sunshine of Your Love, Deep Purple numbers. This is almost saying 40 years later, this is what we sound like now, this is what we were like then. So we've thrown in a couple of our originals in. But basically it's the same set list that we were doing in the Nag's Head in 1970.
It's on Sunday the 12th of November at the Fighting Cocks, opposite the cattle market in Kingston Town Centre.
It's a party. It's going to be a party.
Morris is suffering with his health a little bit at the moment.
What he originally started to complain of was that it was cold down all one side of his body.
I'm numb from head to foot on the left side, freezing cold because I've got a carcinoma in my brain, deep down on the right hand side, which affects the left side of my body.
But there's not really any kind of cure. One of the symptoms with this type of illness is you can have an epileptic fit. The prospect that that could happen can affect his ability to drive. I mean, he drives for a living, so he's having to give that up. If he had a fit driving a 10-ton truck, that would be a catastrophe.
So we're going to have to be kind to him, and he might forget some words or he might not. He might struggle, he might have to sit down. But hey, well, I mean, this is the journey, you know, this is who we are and this is what we are.
So I will be probably sitting down some of the gig and hopefully some of it standing up. So, yeah.
That's pretty fair.
That's the stick.
And I'd just like to say that, you know, we have an equal opportunities policy in this band, and we allow people to take part regardless of their disability.
Yeah.
Terry actually has been quite kind of the glue, really, that's kept us together.
We couldn't have done this without Terry.
So Terry has been really important.
Oh, yeah. So it's been brilliant.
All I'd like to say is it's been an absolute privilege to join with these three and go through this journey of years. And I'm really looking forward to playing next week. I think it'll be real fun.
Yeah, right.
It really will be great.
It's going to be good. Rock on.
Whilst we have a few senior moments every time we have a rehearsal, just rehearsing once a month can be quite a challenge.
Because we're all living in different corners of the planet.
Yeah.
But the songs, we've got a lot tighter at playing, and we're much more familiar with them, but that's what rehearsals are for, is to sharpen everything up. If we add the 8:15, that's 18 songs. Yes. That's good.
We are ready, we are much better than what we were in the early 70s. As a band, we're more confident, and I think the band sounds as good as a three-piece band with a singer can sound, because we've only guitar, bass and drums. So it's going to have a rawness to it that you're never going to change.
This is our golf. That's like semi-retirement home for old musicians coming on a Saturday. They're coming to let what's left of their hair down. Thank you very much. More. Okay, one more then. Yeah, okay, one more. Come back. No, don't go. The lovely thing about the gig is we're kind of doing it for ourselves and our friends. The one thing that I really didn't want to do was to go out and sort of play to the public. because that's not what it's really about. We might do that one day, but that's not what it started off as. It started off as a kind of a nostalgia trip, really, and that's what it's been. When we were young, obviously all our friends and family supported us in our band. They were part of that history. So it's only fair that people that are old friends and people that are new friends see what it's about and be part of that little nostalgic trip, that journey that we've made over these 45 years. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, what a great crowd. Well, as you know, we got back together 3.5 years ago just for old time's sake. And we've been rehearsing every month since then, haven't we, really? We released a single this year. I just want to say thanks to all of you that downloaded the song, both of you. This is a song what I wrote back in 1970, and it's called Pseudo Queen.
What you see, I did like a pretty little self to be. Walking on the ceilings, walking on the floors, looking at the windows, looking at the doors. Talking to yourself with your pretty blue eyes. Can't you hear your cries from inside? What do you want from the world around? A nice big throne and a little go-fair. You're a pseudo queen and you think you're high. Fizzy Coca-Cola and your ice cream pie. Your long blonde hair and a knee-length skirt, your cold bare feet and your granddad shirt. You're a pseudo queen and you think you're high on fizzy Coca-Cola and your ice cream pie. Tell me what you see. I ain't like a pretty little self to be. Walking on the ceilings, walking on the floors, looking at the windows, looking at the doors. Talking to yourself with your pretty blue eyes. Can't you hear your cries from inside? What do you want from the world around? A nice big phone and a little gold crown. You're a pseudo queen and you think you're high on fizzy Coca-Cola and your ice cream pie. Everyone who sings this song knows that the pseudo queens are wrong. They should go back where they belong and be what they are. Little girls.
Not bad for a bunch of old men.
It goes back to that time machine again I said earlier, is once I get behind those drums, I'm 17 again. And it's a form of meditation almost, because I'm just thinking about nothing else other than the next 4 bars.
I can't tell you that just playing for fun is the best thing to do.
And what I make sure I do every time I see my 3 beautiful grandchildren is get out my ukulele, sing them songs and get them playing the drums as well.
When you get to my age, you sort of tend to look back more than you look forward. It does make you analyse things and make you think about what were you about and what am I about? Because, you know, I'm still the same person. My drive, my energy was to play music. That's all I wanted to do.
I regret certain moods of my musical career. I think I could have done better, but I don't regret the journey we done, you know, because it was all part of a learning curve.
I always console myself that it's better to be someone that tried and didn't make it than to be someone that made it and now hasn't got it anymore, because I haven't lost anything.
Sometimes I hate it, most times I love it, but it's just what I am, and it's just my place in the world. If ever I'm watching a film and there's a drummer, I always say to Lynn, there's me, you know, I'm the drummer. You know, when you see the soldiers marching to war, I would have been the guy playing the drums, getting shot, you know, and that's just my place in the world. I was put on this earth to keep time, you know, and at the moment, I'm still keeping time, you know.
Till the end of time, my darling. Till the end of time. As I close the door behind me, and I step out in the cold, think about our dreams, my love, the ones I'll always hold. Till the end of time, my darling.
The main influence before the likes of Deep Purple and Black Sabbath came along, it would have been the Beatles.
Yeah, absolutely. I blame the Beatles for everything.
It's all their fault. Yeah.
That's the reason I'm standing here now.
Yeah.
Bloody cold.
I would have been a doctor or something like
Yeah,
that.
I should have. Yeah.
It's all their fault. I'm going to sue.
Go for cheeky chappies from Putney.